Okay, I'm gonna call it a meeting, this public comment subcommittee. We're here to discuss potential changes to the current public comment policy. Would it be helpful if I read out loud for you guys what it says now? The public comment period shall be the first item of business on the agenda and shall be limited to 30 minutes. The mayor pro tem shall be the presiding officer for this period. Each speaker shall be limited to 3 minutes unless the city council authorizes one extension of 3 minutes. If the topic is on the agenda, the public comment shall be allowed during the discussion of that agenda item and shall be limited to 2 minutes unless city council authorizes one extension of 2 minutes. This conversation came up because we found that there are times where time is donated to other people when somebody might not use their whole 3 minutes. They might be speaking on behalf of other people. And we also recently had concerns about the lack of option of addressing comments when somebody is standing in front of us. And sometimes that's not the most appropriate way to handle the situation. So figuring out the best way to handle this moving forward and talking about the different suggestions. So I'm all ears.
So it says that the way the current policy is, we only have an informal policy of not responding. We actually don't have a policy of that. It's just been an informal agreement. Is that accurate?
It's basically just to make sure, because that evolved in making sure council kept their focus on allowing the public to speak and share with them and have reduced conversation up here. But then I think it just evolved into kind of to the extreme state it is in now. But I mean, there is absolutely no reason why you can't go, thank you for that comment. We'll make sure we have all your correct contact information. We will have the appropriate staff person follow up with you tomorrow. You know, but right now you're not even.
Because that was really,
it looks bad.
That was the way it was presented to me, was I was not allowed to speak to them.
No, you are allowed to speak to them.
I think that would be good if we move back towards what you suggest, the addressing it, because there's times where there are very sensitive topics discussed, and it's just not appropriate to not acknowledge the emotion or the concern that somebody has. So I think that's in agreement.
And we don't want it to get into a debate.
Right.
However, having a small amount of give and take, or thanks or something, or we acknowledge what's going on, I think is perfectly appropriate. Anytime you're talking to somebody, it's a simple respect to say, thanks for your commentary.
I agree.
Well, in the proposed new ordinance, I know it's brief, but then if you kind of look below that at the bullets, essentially some of the bullets are addressed already in the upper one, which was the current policy. So it might be, and of course in Lillian's case this time, that she would, read that and then she would emphasize, that you just instead of kind of reading it through there, just list them off. So this is a time for public comment for items not on the agenda. 1, if the topic is on the agenda, public comment may be allowed during the discussion of that agenda item instead, which she's pointing there. Please sign up with Jeremiah and come to the podium. State your first and last name and address, which is what we try to do now. Time limit suggested 3 minutes. This may be adjusted based on the number of speakers. And then recognized speakers this is what's important to me. Recognized speakers may not donate, transfer, yield, or give any portion of their speaking time to others, which I think is extremely important. And then speaking on behalf of others is not permitted. Now, it doesn't mention where we talked about if you did this and you were here, that you need to come forward.
Yeah, so what you're saying is if you submit a comment online prior, but then you attend in person at the same meeting.
So I had kind of a couple other thoughts too. So it says a time limit suggested at 3 minutes, but what's universal across all of the other cities we looked at is a 30-minute total.
Correct.
And that's not in the rules here.
Yeah.
But it is up above in the original one.
I don't think so.
On the
You're right, it
proposed.
is, yeah.
Yep, so I think that has to be stated too.
I think you got to call that out
I think
to
that we
have
should
that.
include that still. I think
And
that's a good
then
point.
consolidation for for issues that have a lot of people talking, the consolidation of those speaking on the same topic to be one person speaking on each topic. And part of that sign up being part of how we deal with not having 10 people talk all on the same topic.
So I was on a board previously where that was a action that we took where you signed up, and then if the person before you spoke on the same issue and made the same point, you were expected, and it was instructed, you know, in the rundown of what public comment was, that please do not reiterate a previous point. You are welcome to build onto the conversation. So I don't know if there's an appropriate way to present it in that way, but it worked really well with making sure that there was a well-rounded discussion happening with the public giving feedback, and we weren't sitting there for 30 minutes hearing the same piece of feedback over and over.
Right, which we did for several things. Actually, Andy sent out an email, which I think was good, and I guess then we see this and I guess I'm missing some stuff. So, respond to the speaker during the public session, we've already discussed that. Consider requiring people to sign in prior to the meeting, and we haven't really discussed that. Then this is, you know, to keep the 2 minutes for public comments and policy action, that's already been discussed. Disallow conceding time to others, that's been mentioned here. Disallow speaking on someone's behalf, already mentioned, but the one that wasn't until now, each civic submissions will not be read if the submitter is in attendance, which that means if the submitter is here, the submitter has to come up and read it themselves.
I mean, I feel like it almost falls under speaking on behalf of others is not permitted, because in that moment I would be speaking on behalf of them, but we should clarify.
That needs to be clarified,
Absolutely.
right?
And the suggestions up at the top, the presiding officer may address public comments at the end, should really be at the end of each comment.
Yeah,
That
has
should-
the option to.
That's a
yeah.
discretionary thing, you don't have to, but if you're presiding, you have the option of responding to people. There was some stuff here in the way Easley did it. They make a comment, all speakers shall confine their comments to issues under the jurisdiction of the city council. They go as far as saying speakers shall not use public comment period to promote or advertise awards, businesses, service, goods, or candidates for public office. They ask that all speakers, and this is something that's common in some other cities, all speakers are required to address city council. All speakers shall confine their comments. Now, where is it?
This is the one about as a whole, right?
As a
Instead
whole,
of
all public
individual.
comments are directed at the city council as a whole and not to any member. And they go into a whole piece about being mindful and respectful and participating, being civil. I don't know that we necessarily need that strong a guardrail, but directing it to, you know, the city council as a whole seems like a reasonable ask.
Yeah, thoughts, John?
No, I mean, my only thought, no, I agree with that, because I'm thinking about some prior situations. But again, unless you had a gun, I shouldn't say that. The point of it is, once somebody gets started, I don't know how you stop them.
Well, we do have the timer.
Well, no, I'm talking about somebody starts going down the wrong pike, so, not being
Oh,
respectful. The only thing, and I think this would be your situation, you gavel them down right then if they start going down the wrong lane, so to speak.
They spell that out in being civil, but I would call that discretion.
Yeah.
Well, hopefully, with this, hopefully the period of time we went through will never happen again. So
But for example, Robert's done a good job, and maybe we could, having me doing it, you gavel, you address why you're
Right.
limiting the time or ending the comment because it's gone over time or
Right.
whatever it is. I
Yeah.
think that would be a good practice.
I think one of the things we still haven't decided on as far as for Andy, because I think he's making notes here, is that, do we want people to sign up in advance? And I think I had said it earlier, I don't have a problem with it. I don't want this to be something that Jeremiah's got to keep up for days in advance. But, you're asked to sign up in advance of the meeting, say 15 minutes before or whatever, get here a few minutes early to sign up. And if you're late, you can still speak, but you could find yourself outside the 30-minute time frame.
So what we have with the 30 minutes, I gotta circle my way back to this. With the 30 minutes, you've got 3-minute limit, technically that means 10 people could speak for all 3 minutes. The likelihood of that happening is not great, but there might be an issue. But on a normal meeting like tonight, we might have 2 people come up and speak for 1.5 minutes each, and then we've got all this other time that the additional people who didn't sign up ahead of time could then approach,
Right.
sign in, make their statement.
Correct.
I think that allows flexibility. What time do we unlock that door before a meeting begins?
It's usually about
30 minutes before? 30 minutes? So then we say, the doors are open 30 minutes prior to a meeting,
please
at
sign
which
up in
point you
advance.
are welcome to come sign up
In
in
advance.
advance. I don't want to mislead by saying in advance and make people think that's a week in advance. It could be 30 minutes in
Right.
advance.
And City of Charleston deals with that by talking about, yes, they want everybody to sign up in advance, but if you sign up and the speaking time is full, those people get first step at the next council meeting to start talking. So they move to the head of the line for the next meeting.
Thankfully, I don't think we would ever have a list that long. I don't hate that idea, and then if they're just not present, then they just are taken off the list. basically.
We give them 30 minutes, and if we get 15 people sign up, the 5 people who signed up who don't get to speak move to the next meeting as priority speakers.
Sure. And we probably, I don't hate it also because we probably, if we are clear with the expectation of, we don't want to have the same 15 points made over and over, if you're building on grade, the likelihood of that happening is also slim.
Easily does one, says, any speaker that violates these rules and protocols for public comment may be ruled out of order by the presiding officer.
Sure.
Anybody who has been ruled out of order shall immediately cease and desist, blah, blah, blah. They get into the whole
Yeah.
deal on it, but I kind of feel like that's discretion anyhow.
Yeah, I think so.
Right.
You know, you're
So-
never barred from saying, hey,
Yeah.
you've crossed the line, it's time to stop.
Right. It sounds like we're all on the same page, but I want to make sure that we're on the same page about the 30-minute and how we handle signups, because we kind of floated ideas, but I don't know if we have a consensus on like our thoughts there. Did you have any feedback
Well,
on that?
I think you just said, I mean, if the doors open at 6, then you're welcome, we encourage you to come sign up in advance during the period of time when the doors are open until the meeting starts at 6:30. However, if you're after that time, you can still come up and speak if no words there's enough allotted time in that 30-minute time frame, something along those
And we're
lines.
gonna give Lillian the list, the sign-up list, so the top.
Right, so when the
And then you
meeting
call 'em
starts, the
up.
list is pulled, I've got that,
And you
signups are
can-
no longer
and you
happening.
call them up.
Right, and then if that list is exhausted, I can then say, we do have time remaining for
Yeah.
anybody who would like to make
Correct.
additional comments.
And if somebody feels called to come up and talk, I'm all for them, sign up right then and there and come talk.
As long
If
as
time's
the
available.
30-minute, unless we extend the 30 minutes, as long as the 30 minutes is still available. And
Do
we-
you see any kind of problems with that? Like, if I take the list, we exhaust it, and then we allow, if there's additional comments to be made, any kind of logistical issues
I think that would be fine, you'll need to pass me back the
Yeah, you
list.
can send it
because-
for additional sign-ins?
For additional time, so they need to sign in.
Gotcha.
The nice thing about that is, with the list, then, you just call them up.
Yep,
I don't think that actually works.
in
good.
order of sign-up.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
And then that way, there's not this pause until people just get enough courage to come up or whatever the case.
Yeah,
may be.
and we need to make it very plain to people, and maybe that's something that goes out on an agenda or something. If you would like to speak, here is how that works.
yeah.
And we have that flyer so people understand they need to sign up ahead of time. But if there is available time, they are welcome to come up and sign up
Yeah.
during that session and then speak on a topic.
Yeah.
But also the guidelines of being civil and not to reiterate the same topic and to attend to items that are under our jurisdiction.
Yeah.
Hammering away on something that's, say, state or federal
That we
government,
have no impact on.
we can't do anything on. This is not the forum for that necessarily.
I think that's a good idea. I also feel like as long as we are always clear, and we can have these conversations like with people in the public. I don't want people to think this is us trying to limit the availability of the public to come
No.
speak. We are obviously, like, our phone numbers are online. I just feel like I need to say this publicly. Our phone numbers are online, our emails, our addresses, you can reach us, and then we are not limiting this to only X people can speak at a meeting. Like, it's worth showing up, you're gonna have that time. The likelihood of 30 minutes being allotted and not hearing everybody, I don't see that happening very often. So I don't want people to think that this is us saying we don't wanna hear it. My other point is the asking the public not to reiterate points is not because we don't wanna hear it, but it's because I do feel we would get a better view of the public's opinion if you have either differing opinions or you have a thought to add to what the previous person said. It gives a more well-rounded view of public opinion than it does hearing
Absolutely.
them come up and say
Over and
what they
over,
said.
over and over and over.
Right, yeah, so there's the ability there to then have a frankly more constructive conversation as a whole.
Right, and
And you will, and honestly, if you have to go beyond the 30 minutes, based on the crowd, you'll know it.
Oh, yeah.
yeah.
Yes, you will.
And we'll be able to also, in changing how staff answers things, instead of taking a bunch of questions and not being able to respond to it, it gives us the ability through staff to obtain answers to
Yeah.
those questions that are thorough and well thought out, and then post them in an available manner so that everybody can get
Document them, well-researched answers.
everybody gets the benefit of those answers, and those are provided for the public at large to solve those questions.
Transparency, right?
Andy, I'm gonna give you these pieces where I just start them, but in summary, the My Civic comments submitted must be presented by the person, by the person that submitted if they're present. And then time limit, suggested 3 minutes may be adjusted based on the number of speakers. Recognized speakers may not donate, transfer, yield, or give any portion of speaking time to others. Also, speaking on behalf of others is not permitted. And then consider requiring people to sign in advance, and then the e-submissions will not be read if the submitter is not in attendance, okay? Oh, excuse me, will not be read if the submitter is in attendance, right? Right, they gotta come forward. I'm just gonna give you these, 'cause I know you were making notes.
Yeah.
And so then that way, we'll have
I've got a
another
bunch of
opportunity to look at it.
I'll write all this stuff up and send it to you to make sure I've captured it.
Right, yeah, but anyway, that way you'll have another opportunity to look at it.
And
Well,
then
so it's still gonna be something that's presented at the 17th meeting, right?
Yeah, we'll have to
It'll
present
be a
It'll be a
discussion
item
item.
at that point.
Yeah, and
So we'll have a chance to review it before that.
we'll start thinking about our flyer and,
advertising it in time.
Yeah.
Yeah, and, it could be that it's printed on the back of the agenda, or that it's a separate
that's a good
handout.
idea.
Put it in the agenda template,
Yeah. So
Put it at the
that
end of the agenda.
every time somebody comes in, this needs to be ever present for them to see
Absolutely.
what the guidelines don't have to necessarily be legislated, I don't
Right,
think. They can be reasonable guidelines of
We all agree and.
this is what we're looking for, and this is how we're looking to engage, because this will promote the most robust discussion.
Right.
Yeah.
All right. Do we have to gavel this down or anything? Just let it slide?
Yeah, just have to vote that you're done and.
We're just done?
All right, motion to adjourn, any,
Second.
all in favor?
Yeah, okay, there we
Any
go.
opposed? Great, subcommittee adjourned.
All right, so.
Good evening. Welcome to our city council meeting this March 3rd, 2025. I hope everybody had a great weekend. We'll start it off with Councilmember Fulmer with the invocation and the Pledge of Allegiance.
Would you like to join me in prayer? Let's be thankful for our community of Clemson and the privilege all of our residents have to live here. Let's be thankful for our employees and staff who are dedicated to tirelessly serving our community. Let's be thankful for our first responders who protect and serve us 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. And let's be thankful that we as a council have an opportunity to serve and listen to the voices of our community. In His name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag
Of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you very much. All right, Chief. I think, yeah. Yeah. Look, I'm calling you out, you know. This is good, though. This is what we like to hear, and we're excited for what you're getting ready to do, so.
Alrighty. Sergeant Reyes. So you may recognize Sergeant Reyes. She was before you less than a year ago, just under a year ago, being sworn in as an officer. She's been in law enforcement for about 6.5 years, came to us from Walhalla where she was a sergeant. She's been doing really well since she's been here. We did a promotional process recently where she participated and successfully completed and has been selected for sergeant. So we're here to swear her in her new position. All righty. So, okay. Raise your right hand. You solemnly swear that you're duly qualified according to the Constitution of this state to exercise the duties of this office to which you've been appointed, and that you will, to the best of your ability, discharge the duties thereof, and preserve, protect, and defend the Constitution of this state and the United States, so help you God. Okay, put your hand down. As a reminder to yourself, myself, everyone in our profession and in the room, we're going to recite the Code of Ethics. You've agreed to this already once, and I'm assuming you still agree to this again. If not, we're going to have a chat, okay? As a law enforcement officer, your fundamental duty is to serve the community, to safeguard lives and property, to protect the innocent from deception, the weak against oppression or intimidation, and the peaceful against violence or disorder, and to respect the constitutional rights of all to liberty, equality, and justice. You will keep your private life unsullied as an example to all and will behave in a manner that does not bring discredit to you or your agency. You will maintain courageous calm in the face of danger, scorn, or ridicule, develop self-restraint, and be constantly mindful of the welfare of others. Honest in your thought and deed in both your personal and official life, you will be exemplary in obeying the laws and the regulations of your department. Whatever you see or hear in a confidential nature or that is confided in you in your official capacity will be kept ever secret unless revelation is necessary in the performance of your duty. You will never act officiously or permit personal feelings, prejudices, political beliefs, aspirations, animosities, or friendships to influence your decisions. With no compromise for crime and with the relentless prosecution of criminals, you will enforce the law courteously and appropriately without fear or favor, malice, or ill will, never employing unnecessary force or violence, and never accepting gratuities. You recognize the badge of your office as a symbol of public faith, and that you will accept it as public trust to be held as long as you are true to the ethics of police service. You will never engage in acts of corruption or bribery, nor will you condone such acts by other officers. You will cooperate with all legally authorized agencies and their representatives in the pursuit of justice. You know that you alone are responsible for your own standard of professional performance, and you will take every reasonable opportunity to enhance and improve your level of knowledge and competence. And you constantly strive to achieve these objectives and ideals, dedicating yourself before God and your chosen profession, law enforcement. Congratulations.
You okay if we come around? Everybody, come on.
Okay, great.
Family?
Family photos, come on, family.
Congratulations.
I know Beyonce has to come up here, right?
Come up and.
It's so quiet in here. Come on, guys.
We're letting you focus.
There you go, I'm focused. All right.
Says some cheese. They say whiskey. Get you so.
So I believe this is Women History Month, correct?
It is.
So she's our new sergeant, and she joins two other female sergeants with the police department, Sergeant Lily Davis and Sergeant Ashley Wilbur. So
Awesome,
for a sergeant.
awesome.
So we always express to the family, you're more than welcome to stay and listen to the rest of city council, but you're also more than welcome to leave and do other family things. We get it. Family is very important, so please, we certainly understand.
Yes,
Congratulations
thank you.
again, Sergeant.
Congratulations. Family.
All right, we'll get going. Public session.
I'm going to go ahead and open up public session. This is the time for public comment. If the topic is on the agenda, we do ask that you wait to comment on that when we reach that agenda topic. When you come up, please sign in with Jeremiah and state your first and last name when you approach the podium. And we have a 3-minute time limit, and the floor is open to the public. I don't see anybody walking up, so I'm going to go ahead and read. We had 2 comments submitted before the meeting using the My Civic app. The first one was submitted by Miss Kathy Pruitt at 126 Ridgeline Row in Central. Her comment reads, "The guardrail on the bridge needs to be extended to barricade an open 15-foot drop to the river below. It is large enough that a car can easily flip and plunge to the river below," and she's speaking about Chapman Hill Road. The second comment was submitted by Ms. Stephanie Platt at 103 Mountain View Lane in Clemson. It reads, "Good evening. I have 2 questions for City Council. The first is, does the City Council have a dress code? Secondly, why does the city not cement speed limit or any other road signs into the ground? The speed limit sign in front of my mom's house was stolen for the 2nd time last week. I did contact the police department about it, and it was replaced the next day. I would think you all would cement the poles in the ground to avoid this from happening. Signs cost taxpayer money. Thank you very much."
Ms. Boatright, we will reply to both of those comments tomorrow.
Thank you.
And then I liked Mr. Jones' suggestion of, to post those responses just for the benefit of everybody.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you. Any other comments from the public? All right, Mayor.
All right, thank you very much. We'll close it out. Next is the possible approval of minutes from February 17th. Would somebody like to make a motion?
Make a motion, we approve the minutes from February 17th as presented.
Second.
Any discussion, questions, comments? All in favor, raise your right hand. All right, thank you very much. Next, we'll move to reports and discussion. First is to discuss a mutual aid and law enforcement support agreement between the City of North Myrtle Beach and the Clemson Police Department. Chief, you get to come up again.
Yes, sir. Mr. Mayor, council members, to remind everybody that's been here last year, and then the new council members, North Myrtle Beach has Memorial Day weekend that they've assistance with more law enforcement officers, and they ask law enforcement agencies from around the state to assist them. They pay for all of the costs and lodging and food of who we send. And it's also a good opportunity for our officers to go to another jurisdiction and see and how crazy it is over there and how those other agencies operate, and get another point of view, for lack of a better description. So last year, I believe we sent 3, maybe 4 officers. This year we plan on sending probably about the same for that weekend. And so in order to do so, for them to have jurisdiction, they have to have the mutual aid agreement in place. And again, it's only for that weekend. If you have any questions, I'll be happy to answer.
I've got a question. So I read the mutual aid, and it's for us to go assist them. Is there an opportunity for them to come assist us?
On that weekend, if we needed them, potentially, yes. In the future, in another event, if we needed to, yes.
I was talking about, say, football season.
Aren't they already helping in some capacity for
Well,
football?
not North Myrtle Beach, but we do have mutual aid agreements in all the surrounding agencies to help us in those events, as well as others. The university handles getting all of the staff in for on campus. For stuff specifically in the city, we don't generally need assistance during the game. We'll handle the city part of it. But when we have larger events like the viewing party that we had for the national championship a few years ago, the first Georgia game 2 years ago we did on the Avenue, we did call other agencies in to assist us, but they were with our existing mutual aid agreements. We also ask SLED frequently, their alcohol division, to come in and assist, which they do. They will be here this coming Saturday for Patty's Day. So we do call those other agencies in, but we usually don't reach out as far as North Myrtle Beach unless it's something really, really big.
So educationally, so football weekends, all the officers that come in, the university makes those arrangements.
Correct.
So we don't have to have special mutual aid with other, because that's private arrangements for the university make with officers and invites them to help and just pays them separately.
Correct. They have mutual aid agreements with all of them. They coordinate all the troopers that come in, all the other state agencies that come in. And I don't believe they go any further than Anderson County to assist during the football games. So they get enough personnel with all the smaller agencies and Anderson County. And I think Pickens County is going to start working the games again. They
Do
have
you
done
know
for a
about
while.
how many humans it takes to support the games, like of officers?
I forget the official number, but I would not be surprised if it's pushing 300. Because it's a combination of inside the stadium, outside the stadium, all the traffic posts that go all the way down 76 to the interstate, down 123. So it's more than just in and around the stadium.
I have a quick question. The 3 or 4 officers that will be going is voluntary?
Yes, they'll sign up for it. It'll be an overtime situation for them.
Yeah, I was more curious, inside the city, the 2 a.m. rush is only getting bigger and bigger over the years, if we needed help with that. But North Myrtle Beach is a long way to go for.
Correct.
For that.
Like I said, we have the other mutual aid agreements if we need to call those folks in. So if we do that too, it's an overtime situation or a special duty time situation, so we would have to pay them to come in. A lot of times we partner with the university, and the university supplies officers to us. It doesn't charge us. They use the staff that's working at that time. So if we get too busy, they'll come across the street and help us.
And this has already been approved by North Myrtle Beach
Yes, they send
Council?
it to
That's
us.
what- Okay,
So
so
we
it's just our signature.
Yeah, the municipal association recommends that all mutual aid agreements go before council for approval before being signed, so that's why it's before you.
Oh, the chief will sign it, excuse me.
Cool.
Sounds great.
Thank you, Chief.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. Next staff report, Sandy.
Mr. Jackson.
Statement of economic interest is due end of the month. Sent out emails with links to how to do it. I can send that out again if you have any questions. Let me know.
I filled mine out and got my confirmation number, but then they sent me another email saying, remember to do this, so just make sure you keep your
Yeah,
confirmation.
me too. I made him check. It's on him.
I called for assistance, because they're very gracious there. This time I heard, it's her again.
It's Miss Evans who wants to take her this time.
Exactly, that's about what it was. But they're very, very gracious there, very gracious.
Yeah, they're very helpful.
That's all, Mr. Mayor.
That's it? All right. Next is policy action. Just remember a 2-minute limit per speaker. First is consider second reading of amendment to the city's FOIA policy. Jeremiah.
So this is the FOIA policy that we reviewed last time. There's been no changes since the first reading. Happy to answer any questions that you guys have.
Questions, comments for Jeremiah? If not, would somebody like to make a motion?
Well, sorry, I
Oh,
am going to
yeah,
make a comment. I just want to put on the record with the public that included in this is removing the option for a reading room available to the public. And the reason I think for that is because we're posting these online, right? Any kind of FOIA response is being shared publicly after it's shared with the requester.
Yes, any with this change, non-law enforcement FOIA is getting posted on the city's website. They're available right now. Take a look at it.
Thanks for clarifying that.
Sorry.
Any other comments? If not, would somebody like to make a motion?
I make a motion that we approve the second reading of the amendment to the city's FOIA policy as presented.
Second.
All right. And, well, we can do it either way, but comments from city council, also comments from the public. Hearing none. All right, all in favor, raise your right hand. All right, thank you very much. Next on other policy items, request council's approval to declare the 2012 fire truck as a surplus with the proceeds being used to offset the cost of the new 2025 fire truck. Leslie.
Yes, so, for us to be able to sell the, old fire truck, we need you to approve surplusing it, and so the proceeds will be used to help offset the cost of the new fire truck.
Questions for Leslie?
Sounds like a nice upgrade.
This has always been the plan. We actually sold one of them earlier. And then we held on to this one just in case we needed it until the new truck was delivered. We're picking that up now. It's going to be displayed in Indianapolis at the big convention, which is a big deal. And then it'll be here, so now it's time to unload this one. Just all part of the plan.
And what were we getting for it? Do we know yet?
I think we can get $350,000.
Okay, I thought it was in here somewhere. I'm sorry, I
It
apologize.
is.
It is?
It's on the next
So
item.
when will
Is
the
it-
25
okay, thank you.
It'll be the next item.
Is it usually smaller municipalities that look to purchase these secondhand?
Yes, it usually is, but we're probably gonna look at auction or, because per the ordinance, we have to do these things.
Sure.
And then there's also, a dealer, I believe in Alabama, who specializes in these and will find a buyer for it.
And Leslie, to answer, I think, John's question, when it's going to be delivered, it's what, 12, 18 months backlog?
Seeing that?
Brandon?
It's going to Indianapolis for that show.
Please, and then it'll be delivered.
So it's all, okay,
Nice.
nice.
It's gonna be in
So it's
Indianapolis
less than
with
4
a
months,
show.
basically.
Yeah, that's,
Remember,
yeah.
it was talked about, it would be in Indianapolis at the fire
And that's
conference.
a big honor.
Right.
When is that conference? Does anyone remember? Summer?
No, I think it's April.
Okay, so then that means, okay, so we'll get the fire
Late
truck.
spring, early summer, we should
Yeah.
get this truck.
Pull it out up
How
front
many fire trucks?
before a meeting.
I'm sorry?
We have how many fire trucks?
Let the kids go for a ride.
We will after we sell the other one and buy this one, we'll still just have two. We have a small pumper and this fire truck.
This is called a quint. It's a ladder and a pumper combined into one, so you get the benefit of having functionality of both trucks and one crew to operate it.
Yes, the price tag is $1,352 and, I mean, yeah, over $1 million.
I'm just standing here because I'm the next one too, so.
No, please just, yeah, people are asking good questions and, just to clarify what I was even saying, I think if like if you order a new fire truck right now, it's like 18 months to 2 year, even beyond that, something like that.
We signed this agreement, and y'all approved it as a purchase in, did I say? The March 2023 council
So
meeting.
2 years ago.
So
Okay.
2 years ago.
Yeah, that's how
Wow.
the backlog and the assembly aspect, yeah.
Right, wow.
When it gets here, kids absolutely love. I mean, you could do a really big, huge community event, or we could do a huge community event around the new fire truck, because families and kids absolutely love. Well, everyone loves a fire truck.
It's not a new
That'd be
paint
super
as
fun.
well.
Ooh.
It'll have a new paint scheme. It's not gonna look like the other ones.
It's gonna be red, isn't it?
No, the ones we have now are
I
red.
guess they're white.
They're white.
They prefer white because it's actually cooler when there's a fire.
All right. Would somebody like to make a motion?
I make a motion that we approve declaring the 2012 fire truck as surplus so the proceeds can be used to offset costs of the new.
Second.
Any other comments from the public? All right, all in favor, raise your right hand. All right, Leslie, next, to request a budget amendment to purchase the 2025 fire truck.
So as noted before, the purchase was approved in 2023, and so when we were doing the 2025 budget, we missed adding it, even though we have a lot of money saved for the purchase of it. So the amendment basically is to have an expense for the $1.3 million added to the general fund, and then using the impact fees that we have to offset, transferring the restricted fund balance that we had in hospitality fee that was already restricted for this purchase, just being able to move the money over, and then the estimated sale of the truck, the proceeds from the truck that you just surplused.
Questions, comments?
There will be some use of fund balance unless we've acquired, either the price of the truck comes in more, or we have more fire impact fees collected by the end of the fiscal year, so.
Questions, comments for Leslie? From the public? Somebody like to make a motion?
I make a motion that we approve
Thank you, Leslie.
the budget amendment to purchase the 2025 fire truck.
Second.
All right, comments, all in favor, raise your right hand. All right, thank you very much. I like your comment at the end, there you go. Authorize the city engineer, next is authorize city engineer to enter negotiations with MKSK for the redesign of Abernathy Park. Nathan?
So we went through our procurement process to go through an RFQ, and that means we're basing it off qualifications. We had 6 firms respond. We interviewed 3 MKSKs, really, who the selection committee is recommending for us to kind of enter negotiations, kind of get that contract price for them to get us all the way to construction documents.
Questions or comments for Nathan?
Do we have a solid budget on what is going to get spent on Abernathy?
I have, in your current plan with the IPRB, like 5.6 million.
Okay. I have found it to be counterproductive in the past to design without a dollar figure to design to.
We have a dollar, yes,
Yeah.
that's right. That's right.
Yeah, and
It make sure we give them a pretty clear target of this is where we're gonna end up, and you need to design for this.
Yeah, and this is, and MKSK is a team, so it's not, MKSK is the one of the landscape architecture teams. They have a landscape architect, an architect, and then an engineering firm, Thompson Hutton, with them as well.
Where are they headquartered? I mean, where are they?
Greenville.
They're in Greenville? Okay.
And it says here that they had, just gave us thoughts, but actually no real design just yet, but you like the thoughts that were provided.
We, because it was based on qualifications, we intentionally asked them to not do any design work so that we could base it off of what their ideas were for the park and not be blown away by a pretty picture.
Just strictly qualifications.
They had a good approach to it. It wasn't like, they expanded the opportunities to be like, okay, well, if we're gonna have boat dock, let's move it way down here to where the water's deep so people actually use it all the time. They didn't kind of take what was there and think they thought what it could be, and just very practical types of solutions, and having plantings and things to make it look good year round and not just seasonally. Little things like that.
Sounds like they understand the nuance of what's going on in this park. Cool.
Any other comments from the public? Somebody like to make a motion?
I make a motion, we authorize the city engineer to enter into negotiations with MKSK for the redesign of Abernathy Park.
Second.
Any other comments, questions? All right, all in favor, raise your right hand. All right, thank you very much. Nathan, I know you're still there.
Yeah,
Says,
I'm here for a bit.
authorize the city engineer again to possibly enter into negotiations with Weston and Sampson for the development of a city engineering design manual.
Yeah, so, this is the second time we put it out for bid. We actually got 2 responses. When looking through everybody's response, we determined that Weston Sampson would probably be our best group to go with. Both teams had not had a lot of experience with actual development of an engineering design manual, but they have a lot of engineering experience, right? So, and in group wide. So we think that we're gonna get a really good design manual out of this. Kind of the goal of the design manual is to actually be something that it's not only a benefit to the city, but it's a benefit to when we have developers come in, they know the standards that we're expecting them to bring and design to. So, and then also sets a kind of a design language for all of downtown, not just downtown. We'll have we're looking at corridor specific, kind of College Avenue, and then the rest for the rest of the city. But and then it'll give everyone standards and details, and we can just say, hey, you're missing something that we've already set in stone. It also allows us to update some of our existing bidding documents so that we can make sure that they're most up to date and kind of following in line with general practices.
This is a stupid question, but do we not have an engineering design manual?
We don't have one that's front facing. We have a lot of individual information, but we don't have anything that's front facing that's also like, here's our standard for how we want our sidewalks to be. So,
So how have we been?
we're referencing a lot of SCDOTs.
Okay.
And historically, we've been referencing SCDOT and other federal agencies for their design manual. We've done this exercise for water sewer. We just we haven't extended it throughout the entire city. If you look at, it comes down to as minute as what a light pole should look like. And so that way it's like, we've started recently using Duke to provide our lighting because of their maintenance abilities. And so but they have 40 different light poles, but this says, all right, if it's in a general residential, you use this. If it's in this corridor, you use this. And just kind of dictating where it's used and when and things like that.
So it's going to be the Bible for.
That less gray area.
All right.
Yeah.
And these things are excellent for
Yes,
companies
that's-
trying to
That's what I was
bid and
Yep,
design.
yep.
It tells them what they need to know without coming and asking staff 40 questions
Perfect.
all the time. There's a lot of email go into trying to sort these things out.
You think this will lead to a more uniform look across the city when it comes to those kinds of details?
I do.
Yeah. Cool, good.
Good questions, good comments. Any other comments or questions from the public? All right, would somebody like to make a motion?
Make a motion to authorize the city engineer to enter into negotiations with Weston Sampson for the development of a city engineering design manual.
Second.
Okay. Comments? All in favor, raise your right hand. All right. One last one, Nathan. Consider allowing the Shorecrest neighborhood to replace a neighborhood entry or entrance sign on public property. I know they've been talking about this for a couple of years now.
Yeah, they have. So, Jacob Peabody and I met with them about 3 weeks ago, kind of gave them some design parameters, kind of talked through the process with them. As you can see, they're looking to put it just right off of the corner of Shorecrest and Sloan. That parcel, the right-of-way and the parcel is owned by the city of Clemson. They're using very similar, they actually contacted the same sign company that the last one was done through as well. So it'll be a very similar design, but they're just asking permission to put it on to city property.
Is there a sign there now?
There's a post for where the sign was.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's very nice looking.
There used to be one years and years ago, right? And then,
Yeah, and then it will look very similar to, and forgive me, I forgot the neighborhood name, but it's off of Old Stone Church. Yeah, so they actually just came to the exact same process, asked permission. So they've done theirs, this will be very similar to that.
Okay.
Any other comments for Nathan? Comments from the public? All right, would somebody like to make a motion?
I motion that we allow the Shorecrest neighborhood to replace a neighborhood entrance sign on Clemson public property.
Second.
Okay, comments? All in favor, raise your right hand. All right.
Thank you all.
Thank you, Nathan.
you too.
Have a great one.
Nathan.
Next is mayor council reports, comments, new business. I'll start off, if you're okay, real quickly. If you didn't get a chance, thank you, Nathan, and your team being there at Pendleton Library. I got a chance. Here's the flyer. I'll pass it around. That was talk about the regional transportation plan. So I'll just pass that around. And more feedback. I was there for a while, and then Nathan was there for 2 hours. So thank you very much for your time and your commitment. If you also didn't get a chance, conversation with council, progress report. That was well done. I know that was a team effort from 10 plus employees. So thank you very much for putting that all together. And just a couple announcements. Clemson 8 is this Saturday, 9 o'clock. You see some signs around the city. Hopefully they're authorized signs. I don't know. Maybe I shouldn't say anything. Look at Allie kind of,
No.
okay, I'm gonna be quiet. I haven't been a part of that, so all I know is on the marquee, it is approved on the marquee. So with that said, it is this Saturday. I think it's the 5th Clemson 8 challenge. So General, well, former Colonel General Scarden, so I used to live down the street from him. And the other thing is there's an Eagle Project, and Tony's done a great job leading this effort at 12 Mile this Saturday. If anybody's interested, from 9 to 12 or 12 to 4:30, lunch will be provided at 12 Mile Park. It's Harrison Steele's Eagle Project. Keep that in mind. If you know anybody that can volunteer to help out, we're starting to share with a lot of Clemson University students. And they're, you'd have to, yeah, there's a QR code. I'm going out there Saturday afternoon, so I guess I'll know. You can ask me that question after Saturday. Or you can do the QR code.
So is this for Eagle Project as in Eagle Scout or Eagle as in the bird?
No, Eagle Scout.
Okay, well,
Sorry.
I didn't know. That's what
Eagle
Project.
So they did the preliminary work of just kind of getting things prepped this past Saturday. And most of the hard work will be this coming up Saturday at 12 Mile.
Well, we have an eagle, so
Okay, there you go. I like
didn't
that.
know. The bird.
Exactly, so. And the last thing, if you get a chance, the Green Crescent posted a really nice information about what's going on Berkeley Drive. If you get a chance, please read that. So, I had a lot, but I did that pretty quickly.
Spring sports sign up for Central Rec are open, including soccer. I don't know what else, because last time clear up for soccer, so it's not what they pay attention to. But check it out, the website's super clear, the instructions are there, and I believe it's like through the end of this week that some of the spring sessions are open for signups.
It
So,
should be T-ball, baseball, and all those.
sure.
I just want to say thank you to those who were able to attend the Black History Month luncheon. It actually was really well attended, and You didn't have to serve the food this time, John.
And the food was good.
And the food was good, but we had a good crowd. So, Andy, thank you for being there, Ali. So we had a really good turnout. And I don't know if you all are going to say something about Sincerely Daniel, but it was amazing and just wonderful. And if you haven't had a chance to go by there, please do so because it's a lot of history. So they did an extremely good job. But I want to give a special shout out to Lizzie Newton and others for the Black History luncheon. She actually helped us a great deal. And I was hoping she would be here tonight, but so she could hear it publicly. But I will send her the note. But she actually helped us with the programs. She helped us with the decorations, and she had people there to help us serve from staff. She told me to go sit down, and I said, no, Liz, I want to help. But it was really, really great, and so I want to give her a huge shout out because she said this is what she loves to do, and she did it really well. So just want to say that.
Shout out.
I'm the liaison for EDAC, and so council needs to revisit the definition and mission of EDAC. Need some ideas around reworking the membership into a holistic business representation. We know that retail follows rooftops, but it's not just about retail. We need to talk to our professional service providers and see if there are other types of businesses that could come to town or can be brought into town from that perspective. And we need to look for businesses that have low impact on traffic. So I'm suggesting that we put together a small group. I've talked to myself, obviously, I've talked to Windsor and also Nathan, and we'll come back to council no later than the first meeting in April for discussion, because then EDAC then meets during April. I think it's April 10th or 11th. Don't hold me to that date, but they have their April meeting, and I'd like to come back with what we had come up with at that point in time.
And it is Women's History Month, and so we do need to make sure we identify who are, we didn't have a chance to do it for this meeting, but for the 17th, we'll be recognizing our Women's History Month honoree. So if you can look over those and let us know who you would like to recommend. I'd like to get that information so we can do the proclamations.
The Sincerely Daniel thing is really amazing. So, and I don't know how are we intentionally getting the word out to young people who are athletes at Daniel who would just love it. I think it's really hard to get the word out. It's hard to explain what it is to somebody to get them to go see it. So is that a city communication function, or is it it's such an amazing thing?
It's a lot of things. It's Bree working with the social media. It's DK and Jaquel talking to the athletic director and coaches. A lot of it's personal connections. I think it's a brush fire that's gaining momentum at this point.
And we can be too. I mean, if you know anybody, I'm talking it up to everybody. It's even Claire's friends in the elementary school are excited about it. Like the little boys are thrilled to go look at it.
And to add to that, I know it was shared with our superintendent, the principal was there, who's local, and so is our superintendent. So they're getting the word out as well.
It's something that we need to get word on to the athletic department at Clemson somehow.
Yeah.
They have the word. I mean, because they actually did a story in our Clemson about it, and then I know Jaquel reached out to several folks out there, but I do know they are aware of the Sincerely Daniel.
Okay.
And the Community Foundation just did an
Community
article.
Foundation.
Because he's on their board.
Yeah.
Right. So they are aware, because I think they were there.
I know, so
Yeah, most of the coaches' sons play.
you have a good conduit.
All right, I'll talk to them, sure. I'll get the word to them.
So, and I know we all met today too to talk about the communication and how we're gonna advertise to that point.
Good.
So that is something that I know they're gonna work on.
Before the exhibit opened, they did set up a booth at the last home game of Daniel basketball. All the players wore throwback shirts with Sincerely Daniel on it, and they had a booth set up. And so we plan on doing kind of a rotating, smaller type exhibit at some of the different games, the youth games and the Daniel games.
And this exhibit's gonna be open for what, a year? So, I mean, we have an opportunity. I think that this is something people are gonna come from all over the upstate, if not North Georgia, North Carolina, to come see this. It is amazing, and I think, thank you, Bree, for having the media there. I mean, it was amazing to see all the attention that they really, really deserved.
I'm sure it's gonna have a permanent presence in the museum. It'll always be represented there. The only thing that we really need to worry about within a year is how we're handling the kids in the cafeteria. Some tweaking might need to be happening.
Sure.
Need to happen there.
Also, some of the donated items,
Yeah.
we need to make sure we're
Their owners might
communicating.
want them
Yeah,
back.
some of the owners have already come back and asked, and I mean, if they need to get it back,
Yeah.
it's their property.
Well, I mean, they had a really good press conference and Q&A, and so they really kind of went through a lot of detail on that. It was really good.
All right, any other comments?
Mr. Mayor, I have one for you.
Yes.
We will not need to discuss civil action 2025.
Okay.
Oh, that.
Okay. All right, thank you. All right, if there are no other comments, we will possibly go to executive session to consider appointments to city boards and commissions, Building and Fire Board of Appeals, South Carolina Code Section 3470A1. Also, a receipt of legal advice where the legal advice relates to a pending, threatened, or potential claim and/or other matters covered by the attorney-client privilege and/or settlement of legal claims or the position of the public agency in any other adversary situations involving the assertion against the agency of claims. South Carolina Code Section 3470A2, Civil Action 2024 CP 3900901. Would somebody like to make a motion to go to executive session?
So moved.
Second.
All right. Any comments? All in favor, raise your right hand. Thank you very much. We will be back. right, would somebody like to make a motion to go back into regular session?
So moved.
Second?
All right, any comments, discussion, all in favor, raise your right hand.
Oh,
All right, thank you very much. Would somebody like to make a motion?
I'd like to make a motion that we appoint 2 individuals to the Building and Fire Board of Appeals for 4-year terms effective February of 2025, Tanner Fitzwater and Cecil O. Tripp Huey III.
Second.
It's like a tie there. Okay, any
can
comments, discussion? All right. Comments from the public, all in favor, raise your right hand. All right. And then regarding the legal item, that was from executive session, we have nothing to report. Would somebody like to make a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
That was quick. All right. Any comments, discussion, all in favor, raise your right hand. Thank you very much. Have a good evening.
Yay.